Adolf Vincent Gucor. Then I think we established already two firms. The first was a partnership, Kainless plus Gucor Architects. Then we changed it to AMJV Design Build Architects, which is now a sole proprietorship. Prior to that, I worked for around 5 years in Saudi Arabia, and I took my master's at the University of Liverpool. Then currently, I'm already pursuing my dissertation from a doctorate in technology education. This is my wife.
Yeah, my name is Mariel Vigor. As you all know, I'm a student on Gucor. So, as my husband said, that we have registered two companies already. The first is the partnership, which is very kanang lapad bitaw sa ulo sometimes sa pag-comply sa mga BIR taxes, mga compliance sa BIR. So we switched to a sole proprietorship, which is the AMJV. Ang principal architect is Shara. Since kanang we decided to have a hybrid, meaning we are teaching in a government institution here in USDP, and then we practice. So that's why ikuha na lang namo sa sole proprietorship para simple lang ang compliance. Kay lisod jud kaayo if you are malimtan mo ang pag-comply dito sa BIR, so it hurts sa money, no? Then kung dili pag hindi mo matutukan. So, and I also studied master's degree at Xavier University, MBA.
When and how you decided it was time to set up your firm?
Formally?
Formally. So I think the decision, I told my wife in 2017 that we should formally open a firm. There's an advantage to that because
2017?
Yeah, so 2017. The initial plan was that I'll be financing it while I was abroad, and then she'll be doing the firm. But it took some time to open it up and set up. So what happens that I was back in December 2017. Before it was even established. But it was a partnership. The first thing we did, I think she registered it with SEC.
Yeah, registered it.
Registered with SEC, registered with the City Hall, then registered with the BIR. So we got receipts. Then primarily, the decision to establish a firm was because I think it's the clients, they tend to think of you more seriously if you have a company compared to just practicing and your profession. So,
Yeah.
So based on your experience po, ma'am, when do you think is the best time to start a firm?
When is the best time to start a firm? When is that you mean formally?
Yes.
And you pay the taxes na, you registered your company, etc. I think if it's when you're ready to start, you can tell that you're ready if you have enough experience. So not all the time that after graduation or after you finish your apprenticeship and have the license, and then you jump into opening a firm, and then you register it to the SEC without kanang buo bitaw imong loob to jump, because you'll never know what's ahead of you in reality if you lack experience, if half lang yung kuan, because the iba gyud ang iyahang ma-encounter nimo sa business na gyud na on your own. So if you think you're ready and you have the knowledge both sa business and then sa profession, because you've kuha na your maybe ka na nakuha na nimo ang imong experience mo, bro, feeling na ko kuan mo na gid ni. So open na dayon, and then if enough naano kay capital, because mag-capital man gid.
And I'd also like to share, back in 2009 when I got my license, we got our license, my friends and I, we tried to open a firm. Okay, so it's composed of new architects, my classmates. So we tried to open it, but it's not really easy. So first few months, especially if you come from a family that's not well connected, it's really hard to establish.
You start from scratch.
You have to start from scratch, unless otherwise you come from already. For example, you're already a second generation architect, or your father was a civil
You
engineer.
have connections already.
It's easier.
Your neighbor.
Yeah, if your parents they own a hardware store or a business, it's easier to make connections. But if you're going to start from scratch, it was really hard. For the first few months, it was really zero. We earned nothing. Okay? So 2009, I think kapalibre pag ko sa akong girlfriend pa na ko.
2009, that's our first year
as architects.
As architects.
We tried. I tried it with my friends because it was fun. We rented an office, around 8,000 a month. Then it's unlimited electricity, unlimited air conditioning, etc. But the problem was the clients. It wasn't really coming. So I decided to go into employment, into a real estate company. So when I joined the real estate company, it was not established company yet. There was a businessman. He tried to make a new company from scratch. So I was the first employee. So that's why I learned everything, how to talk to clients, how to present with corporations. So I think it was the reason why it was easier for me now to talk to people in different status of life. So 100, I think what you really need is grit. It doesn't really matter what's your age. If you decide to open a firm, you should have buo ang loob. Okay, if you don't have that, you'll get discouraged.
Imagine 2009 and then we started officially
2017.
2017. That's how many years?
8 years.
8.
Around 8.
8 ba?
Around 8.
Almost then. And then we've got our kanang sakto gid bitaw nga pay, which is 10% of the total construction cost as professional fee.
18.
10 years man
No,
ata.
2018.
2018. So,
It was only in 2018 when we first
di ba
got...
kung sa professional practice, unsa pa na professional practice 2, kanang when we talk about the professional fees, and then mga students, wow, dakuan na. So, kung 1 million lugar ang kuan. So, social cost, and then so, lisod ka ayon siya kung kuan. That's not kuan diya, kanang joke lang na the client would pay you 800,000.
But actually, the client would actually pay if they see that you can deliver the job.
Because imagine if it's the 10% the total package, imagine the stress and creative na juices ang makuha and then the management skills and the social skills, and then kanang mapa sa accounting, and then diba sa business, kuan din siya. Dili siya basta-basta.
And another thing is that if you go into design only, it's dili kay siya labad, honestly. If you go into design only, but downside is that you don't earn as much as those who do design with.
But hindi, mo-earn man siya.
Mo-earn siya, but it's not the
Pero
same.
dili siya continuous na kung sikat na ka nga architect.
Unless that you're already
Established.
So that's when you earn a lot in design. But if you start lang ka, I think to gain your capital, it's best to go to design build. Pero it does not mean that it's a smooth journey. Design build is
Daghan stress,
stress.
stressor sa design build. And then sometimes imo sang design na principles makuan because naanay cost na diligid siya diretso din like the student pa nga wow grabe kayong mga exhibition sa kanang mga curves din ha, and then kung when you design murag mo think manggug ka unsa ko ni siya pagtukod naaba dinhi ang materials naaba ang mga tao nga mo kuan diri if possible
But with kuan ang sa among in our design build, we charge also for the design. We don't make it free. That just because we do the construction also. So I think that's one thing because we are teaching here to STP. We try to do our best to follow what's really in the code.
I think that's sa amo pong advantage nga na aside sa practice ka, you have another source of income because if you will rely really on professional practice, sometimes makuan din siya kung imagine isa ra ang source of income mo saan man mo pag-live the next month, di ba? So kung nakailaing source of income, you can say no to kuan kanang mga dili bitaw kuan sa imong principles.
Yeah, because there's also some projects with some red flags. So if you see the red flag, then you don't want to continue with it. If you have other sources of income, then you have the means to say no.
Wala man ka nagsaligra dito. So pwede ka makapamili bitaw sa mga clients.
How do you manage your firm and what were the difficulties you faced in running your business or firm? Itong formal din yung
So that's
So I think for me, because I'm the one always was always in the site. The difficulty is handling the personalities during construction, and so also talking with clients. Because no matter what you do, construction is never perfect. Then you have to let your clients understand that. And sometimes you get clients who's from the United States or from other countries. They tend to think that the standard there is the same here in the Philippines, but it's not really the same. Although we try our best to deliver as perfect and beautiful as possible, it could never be perfectly done because it's not machine made. So that's the struggle. Then I think the next is managing the people at the site, because if you're not there 24/7, you can't really be assured that they're really working for you. So what you really need is to have the skill to look into people, because some people they will just take the money saying that I can do this part of the construction, then they go to subcon it, but in reality they don't have the skill to do it. So that's the struggle really. Then also the struggle is dealing with difficult clients. Sometimes they call you up late at night, they send messages, and it's really hard to deal with that. But you have to learn to accept criticism. That's why your training here in architecture school is really important when you do your design, because what you experience from your instructors in design or the other subjects is only 10% of what you're gonna experience with your clients. Because what you experience with your clients, a lot of money is involved. So you really have to balance everything. Not to not to make decisions that would put your company at risk. At the same time, not to compromise the quality of the work for the client. Okay.
Yeah. You are talking about the later part na.
Later part na.
So, I think the question is when you are starting, what are the struggles? So, as I recall, 2017 na pa man siya sa abroad. So, I opened the company because he told me nga mag-official na task para at least ma-prepare, at least kung ako the income ko diri o bigger diha compare sa Philippines, why not you try kung mo i-open siya. And then so wala pa ko yung MBA adto 2017 ko nag-start po og school kay wala ko lingaw, wala akong bana dili.
15 man ka start.
So sige. Ang struggle adto is though naa na ko'y background sa MBA, lahi di ko ano gud ang mindset sa architect. That's why di ko I choose MBA kanang as master's degree other than kanang sa design yun, because I think manang lacking sa atoa sa training, because puro lang ta arts, design, planning, but kanang murag dili ta rational in terms of the money, financial expenses. So murag layo detached ta sa reality ba, di na nako na realize when we graduated, pagkuan din namo inanira day siya ang allowance. We call it allowance because dili di siya salary, because gatrin pa manggod, no, you feel that after graduation naka-earn na degree sa architecture, mura you know na dili kuan na siya, wala gani siya nag 1/4 sa fraction bitaw sa unsa gid ang responsibility sa architect, yung pang services and so you should be trained by an architect so that you know unsa day ang reality. So murag gi-call siya as allowance kasi dili man gyud siya murag kuan gid nga kuan ka-train pa man ka. Ang struggle gid adto sa pag-start is sa katong compliance sa mga processes bitaw, tas lahi man gud ang mindset, lahi ang mindset sa architect. Then kung wala ko'y pasensya ba sa kanang sa processes dito sa bureaucracy, sa government, na dito pa na ako na-learn na miskin di ay wala kay income, you have to report to the BIR nga kuan lang income zero yan na sa para kuan. Dito na ako na-learn nga daghan di kay comply ana. So muna siya ang struggle sa management sa kuan kanang sa papers, sa permits, when you put up a business like company nga construction firm.
How do you bill clients and follow up for late payments? So regarding ano siya sa financial,
How do we
bill your clients?
Actually, I'm the one dealing with the clients, so they talk to me. So what's really important is that you know how to tell them your fee. So musura you go. So sir, this is your project. So the estimated cost is this. Then if you follow the percentage method, this will be my fee. And then this will be the fee structure. So it's not something that should make your client feel it's not something that they're going to pay one time. It's 10% of a million.
That's prior to the service.
It's quite big also. So you have to learn to subdivide that into different phases. You have to get paid for the initial engagement, and after that, for example, the subsequent progress for the conceptual, and after it's approved, there's a fee for doing the drawings, and after it's done. So what I usually do is that I send them a billing statement of what's the fee in accordance with the agreed amount. So, but before that, it's really important that you have a contract, a design contract, because without a design contract, it's really hard to get the fee from the client. So with a design contract, dili kay ka makuan ba? Dili ka mawadag dignidad if maningil ka.
Because
you just tell them, sir, what I do is that I send a message or a text, sir, in accordance with the contract, we already done with this, so can you send this amount? So we could proceed. Just as simple as that, black and white. Just send it. Ulaw siya at first, but you will get used to it. Kaya kinangan yun.
Yeah, because the contract really helps. Because before the services have been offered, nag-meet naman ng inyong minds. Ikaw, architect, and then your client, naman imo kang bayron nun. So ang imo na lang buhaton is mag-send na lang kang billing, and then kuan, bayad na lang dahil siya. So kung dili pagid siya makuan, i-follow up. Pero dili sa kanang grabe gid sa sunod-sunod ng dili nga kuan. Kanang kuan na murag na, pero sa imong system sa inyong office na agad mo murag kung ang client wala pa nakabayad at kuan man accounts receivable. So kung ang accounts receivable nimo dili pud nimo sige i-follow up pod kanang wala kay murag nabita indicated na time na kuan mahimo na siyang bad debts. Ang bad debts mahimo na nga dayong dili na mabayaran kung digid nimo atimanon. So inana nga kuan akay murag i-set up na nimo dayon ang system ito sa inyong office. Ako until now gani kuan pa na ako murag trial and error ba kay dili beta ka gid exposed gid sa mga business nga kuan gyud. So sa amo nga ginakuan pa na ako trial and error kung inani na kay different man pud nga clients lahi-lahi mga personality pud.
Then it's really important that you learn to divide the phases of work. For example, naman na ako ang conceptual 3D. Then the client would just ask me, architect, when can I get the blueprints? So I'll just tell him, sir, we'll proceed in the next phase, but you have to settle this amount first so that we can proceed with that. So it's just as simple as that.
Don't move sa another step.
Don't move to another phase without settling the other. So I think if kabalo na ka maningil, it could also give the vibe that you're very professional. Hindi na ka maulaw ba to set the value for your work. And I think much of our fees, you could find justification in the IRR of RA 966. So it makes it easier. But you have to be really familiar with the different UAP documents para masayon maki-discuss sa client. So at the onset, it's important that you and the client, you have a meeting of minds. You already tell him what's your fee. What's the problem with some professionals, if you can notice it, is that they don't give the fee in fear of not getting the project. Well, for me, it's better not to get the project if the client is not willing to pay for it. Kaya laban na sa ulo ang project. It's better to have a few projects and the client pay you with the correct amount in accordance with the professional practice codes compared to getting a lot of projects. Then you got a lot of projects, then they pay you 10% less, only 10% of the total. What should you be getting? Because dili lang kagansi, you'll also be compromising other design professionals and also your health.
Because stress lang din na siya.
Kasi stress na gina ang project. So even right now, dili na we tend to select our clients. Kay we've realized along the years that not all projects are really worth it, especially if the client's not willing to pay.
So really advisable nga receive
No.
lang
You have to evaluate.
And
That's the kuan sad nga it's better good to have multiple income streams. Dili lang din sa profession.
I think that's something walang gitudlo sa inyo bitaw. It's called financial literacy.
Yeah, financial literacy. So you have
You have to have investment in stocks, real estate,
you
and
know,
other things.
as a student, you know how to manage your finances. That's personal finance. Karon pa lang daan, ino man ang gina-manage. Kabalo na mo sa income, sa expenses, sa dahil ang mabilin sa inyo.
Okay, I think dako man tanawon ang initial down payment if mag-construction. Ang pangkani mapalit diretso ng pick-up truck.
Without considering the expenses, ko, sa nakado ang inflation karon.
Kaya mo ipaliton diretso. Gamiton yung it's not your money, it's the client's money. It will only be your money after if the other project is completed, you turn it over.
Na ba say instances ma'am along with the project may galit ang client nga stop lang sa ang kuan kay may emergency sa ilang ko na short sila sa funds inana. How do you deal with that situations or naka-experience na mo ana?
Experience ba tama ba? I think wala pa. Because we really filtered our clients.
We filter our clients and we talk to them. We try to learn what's their business, how are you going to get the financing for the project. But it's not direct.
We really talk to them na we interview them kung enough magit ilang funds or kuan. So kung hitabo man sad siguro na I think we know it already siguro.
Nakabayad na siya. Then you're already remunerated well even if di mo dayon ang project. So I think nakabalo man siguro mo that at least you get paid 90%, di ba? It's in the professional practice.
If it's design.
If it's
Design only. What you're talking about
For
is
the design build.
design build. Pero kung sa design lang, naka-experience mi ana nga wala ni pursue ang client because as like kuan other plans sa iyang so nag-change ang mind. But we are not kuan nga murag wala mi nabayaran kay wala pa gid mi naka-experience.
Okay.
Ay
Thank you.
Kay by stage man.
pero adili naaday pud gihapon may kuan sa earlier pa na mo nga as an architect na kuan na pud ta na 1 2 3 na pud sa mga client.
Katong mag-upat na
Katong naagi hapon na part of the experience na.
Important yun na kabalon mo pagkuhan kay na subdivide yun ang work, then each work na ibayad para really good, don't think about the 10% as a whole. Learn to divide that into different services. Then we talk about construction. You will have to really be honest with your client that construction is a big decision. And then it's going to drain a lot of your financial resources. You tell them outright. They should be 100% committed to the project if you're going to start with it, because otherwise, hindi na siya magayon. Okay, for example, when you construct a house, it's not 100% ibayad sa imo the total amount. They pay you 30% for example, you make the foundation, another 30% you finish a certain columns, then 30% for some slabs, then you get the 10% upon turnover. So if they stop along the way, you just have to finish what's in the contract. Asa taman kung ilang issue na nabayad, and you stop edit. As long as what you do is in accordance with the contract, you won't have any legal problems. Okay, within the contract man. So if they don't have the money to pursue the next stage, you just have to be very frank with them na, ma'am or sir, we cannot proceed with the next stage because there's no more money to proceed with it. Then if you proceed several years later, then I think the price would not be the same. Was there such a thing as inflation? Example this year, I think it was in December we bought some what you call this bags of cement. It was still at 220, but in the middle of the project in May, it reached 270 per bag of cement. You can just imagine the changes. So if the client suspends a project for a long period of time, tell them that what's in the contract is no longer applicable.
Yeah, you stipulated.
But you have to put that also in your contract. If there will be work stoppage upon resumption, you're going to take account inflation and a lot of stuff, because you have to remobilize again your people. Nagana siya mahitabo kay na-stop ang project, then wala na you're going to transfer your equipment and mga manpower to another project. Then if mo proceed na siya, pag siyempre when you
another cost na
po pag transport
again.
So the client has to pay for that. Okay, so parang nagyan ka ng prangka lang, you just have make the client understand. Be honest on everything. Construction is really a big decision. It involves big money.
For the next question is, how do you keep track of your income and expenses or comply for the government taxes? And do you hire bookkeepers, ma'am, or accountant, or ikaw alone?
Sa karon, ako lang sa because as we told you selected lang koan. So first, how do we keep the
track of
the income and expenses? So very simple naman ang akong system na manay once sa Google ng mga sheets bitaw anay budget daan. Ako lang gi-tweak na anay yung mga formulas then usually ang kuan mo gidana sa bookkeeping is kanang credit, debit, sa bookkeeping yun. And gikuha lang ako ang format siya sa gamit ang katong Google Sheets para whenever I kuan as pinasa kong padulong ma-access rin ako ang kanang ang kato siya nga sheets. So ang format na may ihatag na murag acceptable format sa BIR. So ang receipts ginakip pod nako, and then sa date, and then sa expenses, and then income, and sa tong second question,
how do you comply for the government?
compliance, yun na, muna ang disadvantage if you are wala lang ka nakafocus sa isa, kasi kami nag-teach with me diri, and then asad ko admin task, so I'm the director of Enterprise Division CDO, so usahay limitan kay naghuna-una magud mi nga mag-hire mi bookkeeper. Naka-hire mi sa unang bookkeeper, but dili bitaw we have a bad experience, so nag-ingon na lang kung why not ako na lang na akong gitry nga ako na lang keep track. So muna siya naiuban na malimtan na ako, uy deadline na di ay, so ang buhat na ko karon, nag-join ko group nga kanang mga BIR bitaw nga sa group it. So kung mag-Facebook ko, mo pop up nga naay murag mag-remind bitaw nga uy kuan na day karon, you will file the percentage tax kay na income tax, daghan mo gud na siya, halos kada bulan nimo siya i-comply whether you have income or not, dapat imo din na siyang i-comply mo report because kang BIR. So muna siya karon nga murag naka-learn ako, kasi before gakalimot ko nga i-comply man day ni, so that's open cases na mo penalty na ka. So inana muna siya ang isa ka technique na ako karon ng join ko para ma-remind ko nga ting file na karon sa BIR. So i-file kay kanang dali ra gid siya, actually it looks kana intimidating gyud kung at first kay dili biya inana 30 di ba ato kay mga arts, drawing, design, planning, kung makakita mo tag mga medala na nga form, yung mga numbers kay makuha na. But kung permitted na sa di mo, di mawala naman sad ang kahadlok.
So, what are the business skills that an architect should possess in order to run a successful firm?
Aside sa
Business skills.
aside sa kanang designs, planning, kana sa dapat mag-learn gyud ta og sa business na term, at least lang the basic accounting, and then a basic bookkeeping, and then management sa people. Sa ako at least sa ako na nga side nga kuan, kasi I'm handling the money and sa finance. So ako may financial, what's that called, CFO, the finance officer kuan sa among company. So, ikaw?
I think it's just when you run a business, any business, architecture, engineering, or any field, what's important is grit. You never give up, because along the way you'll really encounter a lot of problems, especially with difficult clients na encounter mo sa mga kliyente. There's a time kayo ka want to give up. Pero if you have grit, you just tell yourself that I'll avoid these kinds of people next time. So you learn from your experience, and you use your experience to make your firm better. Because it's not really smooth sailing process, especially if mag-establish you ka compared sa gimana ni mo ang company sa parents. When you start something, isud you ka yung tagkani ka ma-experience. So what you learn in school, these are just the skills on the surface, but beneath that, when you already run a business, you need a lot of things to succeed. Dapat ka nang buo gid mo loob nga to survive. At least you have a ballpark figure. If you survive at least 2 to 3 years in that business, in that industry, then it's a good indicator that in the long run you'll still be there.
I think kung sa ang mindset magud nako is kung kanang i-look forward nimo ang another experience, no, kanang though na ay problem, But kanang labi na sa inyo kanang mga younger generation karon kanang ay mga mental health, mga daghan kay issues sa mental health. Ayun na lang na ikuan ng mga gamay lang nga dili man nato ikuan ang gamay or magamay man na siya madako nga problem. Sa ganito ko ang kuan malabay na siya ba, no? Malabay na so you enjoy it because life is too short. So you enjoy every experience you have. So kung apprentice ka or student ka, you enjoy nga na kay mga requirements, kauban ni kung imong classmates kasi kung mag-graduate ka, lain na po nga environment, lain ng experience. Kung apprentice ka, you enjoy ka nga mag-learn sa imong mentor. And then when you are starting pa or you graduated out, you are a licensed architect, then start pa ka wala kay project, you enjoy nga the sipa-sipa sa kaglata na wala kay anak, wala pa kay dako nga responsibility, you enjoy it. You enjoy the experience nga makasampan sa client. You enjoy it, no? Kay kung as you go kuan sa process, makatawa na lang din ka local experience nato. Kami gani ang experience ta sa una nga student pa ta, ang magto sa atong nagsosyal na kaayo din karon nang magto sa ato kay wala lang marag maura la, marag normal na ana ba, no? Lahi gid every age siguro nimo lahi imong experience, so you have to enjoy it. Kung may problem, you pray, no? You pray and then move on. Another I thank God for another morning to kuan, no?
Yeah, it also means that you should have mental resilience. Because if you don't have it, you'll really hate the profession.
Yeah.
Because there are times that you don't get to sleep. There are times when your client calls you 10 p.m. in the evening telling you about a leak or something. Then kasabaan ka. And
But that portion is murag imo man ang decision, no? You can turn off your phone if you don't want na kuan, but it's his decision nga the client can
i-address lang yun. I-address some problems because if you don't like what I told her, when we deal with clients, we address the problem head on. So whatever the problem it is, we try to address it. But there's a borderline with it. If the client already goes beyond the borderline, that's the time we don't. I don't anymore care what the client thinks about. As long as what I do is in accordance with the contract, then I don't steal his money. So, bottom line, when you deal with clients, katulad na you have to do what ang ingon ganina. You should have a contract. Without it, magtutuyok lang sa client if na problema may tabo.
So, do you think being an architect, especially in design build, can guarantee financial stability?
Okay, so design build is quite good for me.
if you manage it
If you manage it well, it's really good. But like what we have told you earlier, when you get the money or the down payment for a project, that's not your money yet. It's only your money when the project is finished. Okay, so don't spend it. Then if you already have a lot of clients and you do design build, it's really a better source of income compared to employment. So that's the truth about it. There's really a lot of money in real estate. So not just architecture. So you have to diversify. So as an architect, you have access to the perks of real estate. You have to learn the financial language which runs the world of real estate. Okay, I think there's a lot of people who got rich because of real estate.
In business man good, in business man good, it's like driving your own car. You can reach a certain destination na naara sa imuha if kung saan nimo nga route na imong ikuan kung dito ba ka sa kuan layo dito ba ka mo agis traffic or mo kuan ka sa kuan na ang business. So kung madala nimo og tarong ang imong business, kabalo ka asa mag-source sa materials na barato, kabalo ka og analyze or kay balo ka basa sa personality sa tao, sa imong mga tao, kay balo ka dala sa imong tao na dili ma-waste ang imong isweldo sa ilaha, then pulido ang pag-work nila. So makakuha gid kag profit gid nga dako-dako. But if dili ka kabalo mo kuan, wala mahal ka imong source sa imong materyales, and then di ka kabalo mag-manage sa imong finances, kay nagasto nimo ang para unta dito, that would be the kuan.
Especially if you don't pay your suppliers early on. Magpatong-patong muna, then you tend to forget. So you have to have a record of everything. Design build is really a good business. Kami gani, sometimes we struggle. If dagan may projects, we sometimes we get tempted that one of us resigns from STP. When we compare the income, layo rin kayo sa tinuod. Layo rin kayo sa tinuod. And so, compared, but we have to think sometimes about stability, and it's not always. Then we think about retirement also. And
Stressful be a big gihapon ang business.
Yeah, business is also stressful. Then, but design build is not the only thing you can do. You could go to build and sell, which for me is much better because you don't have to deal with clients. Minus the stress, you just have to deal with your people and market your house or your project. Ikaw magbuot na. Nobody tells you that that color is not good, so change it. Because it's design build. So if you venture into land development, you venture into the other facets of real estate, daghan you can masudlan sa architect. And a lot of income streams. But kuan lang yun. For the years that you don't have the capital yet, you build yun na nimo.
Yeah, you build your kuan, you train yourself, no? Kano ang inyo ramang yung sa future bitaw nga makagraduate na mo ang inyo kung first nga struggle mo na niro man ang sweldo. But dili mo kuan na murag di na lang mo magpa-train kay gamay ra ka sweldo. Ayaw pag-think sa salary na gamay. Think of the experience na kuan. That's why it's very important to choose your right mentor. Kay dinha nimo kay ang mura magud na by example. So kung makapadulong mo sa mentor nga dili pod, di ba, lahi-lahi magud pod og kuan, so dili pod financially literate or puro ra design or lahi og kuan. So you tend to adapt ang iyang principle. So you have to choose yun kung sa nga mentor ang gusto nimo to become, kung mahimo mong kuan dugay na mo sa industry.
Yeah, you can just imagine back in 2007 when I first worked as an apprentice, my salary was only 200 pesos a day. Every Friday, so we only eat barbecue at the side of sa Gitang Hospital, medical center. So that's the only thing I could afford. That's around 4,000 pesos.
But we're happy back then.
We were happy. So then I started with 4,000, then it got bigger. Then I think the biggest learnings I had was when I was hired by a real estate company. So when we started that firm, nakita yun na po how to start and what's the world of real estate really is like, especially when you're dealing with clients. So I think sa among duha, ako ang gatubang yun sa kliyente. Kay dili na kay ko kadudlan yung kasama. Especially if I know that I have a contract. Basta kay I'm sure of myself that wala na ko, I'm not wasting my client's money and I'm not stealing his money. You could actually see the project. That's why I always tell our clients that construction is not perfect. Okay, since tao lang nagbuhat, then compared to other countries, I think dito mangod kay their labor force, their skilled workers, they're much more professional because they have different sets of power tools. Kabisado na kinapagamit ng power tools. You're easier to deal with, to talk
and
to.
then the status of
Status of life. Then mas dako gid ang sweldo dito.
ang workers ba nato diri kay elementary lang ana. So kumusta na among kuan pod as murag among passion why we are here in education nga kuan teaching. At least ba nga makuan bitaw ang knowledge bitaw sa mga students.
I have a foreman, reklamo siya. He didn't understand what the client was talking about on the site because the client was talking in pure English. So, saan mo na? So, I told my client, when you talk to the foreman, pag-Bisaya lang. Because he will not understand you if you're going to talk to him in pure English. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, just talk to me directly. So, you cannot really compare. Layo kayo. Philippines is really behind kita. That's a reality. You must accept that so that we can move forward.
Do you think, sir, nga advisable nga daghan gid ako background or like na aside sa being an architect nga like sa imo ma'am nag-ano kasi business, si sir sa real estate, mas advantage ba na ano?
Yeah, it's an advantage.
The future now is multidisciplinary. So it's no longer about one profession. So you have to learn to work with different professions. So for example, I'm an architect, but I'm also a real estate broker and a real estate appraiser. So I have an idea on how to value property. I have an idea how to sell lots. And I also have an idea how to build it. So if I go into the design build business, generally if I practice my profession as a broker, I earn as a broker, I also earn as an architect, and I also earn as an appraiser. So it's really important that you have a bigger view on things so that you'll have a much better perspective on your general direction in your practice someday. Marakal ka ng kwan ba? Importante yun sa tao nga broad-minded ka. Because if you work like a horse, lana lang, you won't be able to see, enjoy the scenery around you. Okay, what's important, especially in the age of globalization, in this, industry 4.0, as they call this, is you have to be able to network with a lot of people. And you have to be able to network with a lot of technologies and professions. Kaya dili lang pwedeng the idea that the architect is the architect is the prime in a project. I think it's somewhat antiquated. So you need really to, at the early stage of the project, we need to be able to talk to all the professionals involved, especially sa ako experience when you're dealing with large projects. You have to be able to talk to the structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and the others on an equal footing so that the project will be successful. Because once you put ego in a project, the project is bound to fail because mag-isa naman mo. But at the onset, for example, of a big project, you talk with the professionals involved. You talk also with the suppliers because you have to plan where you're going to get the materials for the project, for the funding also. So it's really important. Then if you have a bigger view, for example, when you do design build business and you have a better view on the project, if the ganito exposure, for example, in real estate, you could advise the clients on better financing schemes. So I think that was my job back in 2010 to 2012. We actually helped our client find the best financing for their house or project. So we advise them. I think from these three banks, this one is better because they offer you better terms. So inana ba?
Yeah. And then ako na lang sa dahil i-add that being a business owner, you know how to handle your money by multiplying it. You know how to multiply your money. So you have the profit and then you invest it. You invest in stocks, in stock market. You know how to leverage your income. So inana ko di ay sad ang dapat ko ano sa isa ka business owner. nga dili ra mag-set ang iyahang profit nga dito ra sa bank because the interest of the bank is very small. So kabalo na ano man siya knowledge about personal finance, about accounting, about bookkeeping, how to track her expenses and then the income also. So dapat kabalo pod nga dili ra pod dito, so you put your egg in another basket, so dili lang dito lang sa imong company butang ka.
Okay, kung ano, if you know how to invest your income, for example, your income 700,000 in a project and you invest that into real estate, invest in stocks and other things, that 700,000 will multiply itself.
So di ka mag-struggle sa imong finances. So maka-choose ra gid ka kung dili nimo feel or lahi ra sa imong design principle kini siya nga project, you can
just say no.
You can say no, and then pwede ra nimo maignon nga. I have this friend na architect gihapon. I think imong design principle, imong gusto nga kuan, and then his design principle is mag-match. Pwede ra nimo makahelp pa naman ka sa imong kuan friend na maka
Kay sa tinuod na bitaw, I think there's enough projects for everybody. The problem is that naman gaday. Pero wala na nakita that in the long run it will hurt them financially and also hurt their reputation. Kay sikag ko ang project at the bare minimum, then wala ka nang pabayad sa design fee. Tagan like the project na sa surface. But in the end,
wala na ka negative
ka.
Kay wala ka nag-keep track sa expenses, wala ka kabalog yun di na nikita day ka, or wala ang imo lang buhaton kay magkuha na pud kag another nga project para i-finance ana. So nay na nga mga
but the surface you look cool because you have a big car and then that's what you project on social media. But on the surface, the struggle you ka compared to gamay ra ka project sa pero nag-charge ka sakto. Then the result of the project is something that you can be proud of, ma-post nimo. Yeah. Lahi ra gyud kay actually what's really good about architecture is that it's not only the income. When the project is finished and then you realize it, you have a sense of fulfillment. Nga dili ma-compare. Lahi ra gyud ang sense of fulfillment. Ngayon dito ka gwapo, bitaw kayo, especially
you created it from your brain.
Naglakaw ka then mo na ingon nga guwapo lagi kayo ni siya nga place. Madunggan nimo.
That's the fulfilling part.
Muna fulfilling part compared sa kwarta lang. So, mabalance ko na.
Since it is your edge, you are husband and wife in your firm. So what can you suggest if katong mga people or mga mag-create of firm na dili bitaw sila let's say nasa close relationship kay for you, understand when you both, how can you handle kind of relationship within the firm ba?
Dili like husband and wife. So murag friend lang kay before you partner dapat kailang sad ka kay lisod kaayo if dili mo magkasinabot. You have to kuan kay mag-partner lang mo for the sake of finances. No, it's I think it's wrong. You have to know good the person kung magkasinabot bagid mo. Kay kung dili magkasinabot, I think dili siya mo move forward ang inyong firm.
Yeah, kay even if magkasinabot mo, sooner or later when it comes to finances, magbangga ito.
O reality na
That's
siya.
the reality.
Kung money na bitaw ang kuan, makuan na dahil nga, uy, ngano, labi na kung walay trust sa inyong miskin dili relationship na partnership lang, business partnership, importante gid ang trust and honesty.
Kaya pwede ba na ang isang mo reklamo, so I've been bringing the projects and then you're not bringing anything to the firm. Anong mo split into two man ang income? So for me, I think it's much better if tukod na nakag-own mo firm, then you hire your junior architect. Compared nga duha mo ka head. Di ba, two heads, you look like a monster. A human being only has one head. Kaya ang husband and wife is a relationship manggod na you're only one person. So that's the advantage. Kaya kanang duha mo, lain mo personalities. Yeah, it might go well for a few years. But something along the way, mudako na
Yeah,
siya.
possible man na siya nga. You have different personalities and then you become a business partner. Kay advantage man na kay kung unsa ang wala sa inyo na sa iyahan lugar. But dapat gina I trust and honesty. Eh kung wala din ha, murag bungkag yun. Labi na kung mahinahin na sa kwarta. Sa profit. Ano?
Dahil naman yun na, kaya kuhan niya, I think the problem is kanang pag-track ba, host this client, kasi nagpasulugan niya, then you're just
Then
relaxing.
if wala may policy nga murag miskin simple lang bitaw nga policy ana kung wala dili klaro ang inyong policy ana so lisod pod wala may agreement.
In terms of finances, ma'am, gina-separate ba ninyo ang yung personal na accounts to your
Yeah, you have to
business
separate it sa business at sa personal na account. So, makuha na dayon sa personal na ang kuan mo kung like at the end of the year you've decided na this profit is kanang kuha na, makuha na. But if you decide na dinhiragin na para sa business to grow the business, so di na siya. So, you have to really separate. Kaya kung hindi mo i-separate, lisod ka ay. So, you have to know how to account, how to keep track sa imuhang yung at pati ang expenses, separate din na sa imuhang track. I also track our personal expenses, household na expenses. So, separate din siya sa kanang business.
So, what do you think is the biggest mistake you've encountered in your whole experience in design build?
Design build.
Biggest.
Biggest
Oh,
mistake.
biggest.
I think sa ako ang murag ouchie na kuan mistake katong wala na ako gi heart to heart ang katong processes bitaw tong nag-open account. Nag-open may o company 2017. And then 27 murag wala lang nako naana may kuan naana may company and then wala gid ako gi internalize bitaw gid ang katong compliance. Abi nimo daghan open cases that really hurt sa bulsa kay ginapa-close naman namo tong partnership kato daghan open cases kay wala na ko comply ang kay ko nga ay pwede naman siguro dili kay wala lagi lang ko gi by heart ba ang naa dito na naka-appeal ko sa seminar but wala na ko gi by heart ang dapat day ka mag-report sa BIR nga inani miskin wala kay income dapat nimo gihapon ikuan so wala na ko 1 year na siya wala ang usahay makadumdum ko ako gi-comply usahay wala so pag pa-close din ako okay dagan kay open cases so muna siya ang biggest for me nga kuan sa design murag I think wala ko man siguro kaayo nga murag digin ako malimtan nga sakit bina sa part lang sa finances na kuan.
I think same for me. So far, wala mo ko'y regrets. But daghan na ko experience talking with different clients, different people. And some could be really rude. But I don't take it to heart. Even if pangaway na yun siya, I don't take it. I try my best not to take it personally. So, paano yung poker face? As long as I know on myself na wako nang awa sa'yo, wako nang hilat. So, I'm just following the contract and I can't do more than that. So, kuha na kayo ng pag-ayay kasing-kasing. So, your training in architecture is really right. Okay. Anyway, even if you pursue other businesses, kailangan guide ito kasing-kasing. Okay.
Dili ka balat sibuyas.
Dili ka balat sibuyas. Di ba ka matutlan diretso ka ng kuhan?
Kay criticism, dahil na wapo kay sa imo ang design ito lang ka marong nagsimbahan masakitan na ka hindi na ko mag-design ani so dili you try to react kanang internalize tinuod ba nga murag simbahan maingon din ka no murag simbahan ano unsa day nakamurag simbahan ani mana dayon ba ay dili man murag magyapuan or natay kuan ba kanang imo gihapon paminawon ang ilang criticism pero dili nimo siya na murag take it
dili ka ma-depressed because of
depressed ka na kanang Pero take it nga in a positive way to improve na unsa pa day ako mas ma-appreciate na ko at least the next time dapat inani nga elements ako na i-remove para dili na siya murag simbahan miskin A-frame siya pero dili siya murag simbahan kay i-remove na nako ani nga elements
kaya sa ako my mindset is that as long as nabayaran ko walay sakit. So I don't really care. Mga saba ka, you can yell at me, you can call me at night.
Basta sakto lang mo.
Sakto lang yung bayad. So,
wala pa kabayaring sakto. Grabe ka na din pagka-istorya or kasama. Sakit ka na.
May ko na-experience in my early years as an architect. Bago lang ko, ang client, nangasaba na, wala ko siya nagbayad.
Uy, bayad.
I had to be frank with the client. I told them na I don't think you paid me a single cent to tell me that. Wala na siya nag-communicate sa kuha. As simple as that. Kay kung salto sila, before baka nabayaran, so you just dili man road, you just have to reply. Wala na lang yun ang mura din na ang contact. As long as you get paid, I think everything is, for me, okay lang ang ako madawatan na kasama or anything. Kaya, di ba, sa magabi, nasaba. So, but, I was sure I did not do anything wrong. There are no major problems or defects. The fact is that, I think, OC lang din siya. Then, I already told the client na it's the practice in the other countries here in the Philippines. It's quite different. Di galing mo na ma-perfect unless you pay for more, which is high-end. If you don't do high-end here in the Philippines, you'll never get a project that's as good as those you have in other countries. Okay, if your budget is para lang ordinary house or anything, you can't expect. That's just it. This is the analogy. Your budget is just to buy a small car, but you want a Fortuner. How are you going to do that? No matter what good of an architect you are, that's the only your budget. What can you do? Diba? But the bottom line is, ang advice sa inyo, when you get your first project, don't spend everything, Okay, dagan mo ko receive comments from my friends in the real estate industry na there's some professionals or practicing pagkuwas down payment, pag-visit the site ko, okay, pick up. Then, biyaan na tayo, nakatiwang-wang. So,
that's very unprofessional.
That's very unprofessional. So, don't do that. Bahalad ka ng you have a small car, umay lang. As long as you have a good bank account, okay na siya kayo. Actually, you don't need to impress people who have less money than you. You have no obligation to impress them. Importante, your family is, if na kay family, kakaon sila, and well provided sila. Okay, that's the only thing that's important.
Okay, so,
what do you suggest to fresh architecture graduates or fresh architects or newly nga
license
architects?
It will really depend on your your circumstance in life. If you have parents that are already well connected, then you're already a second generation architect or your parents are engineers, start your firm. There's nothing to lose. But if you're going to start from scratch, try to learn.
Find a good mentor.
Find a good mentor and try to establish your name. It will take some time, but it's worth it. For me, my advice is if you come from not so rich background, try to establish yourself first. Try to see the world. Work in Manila or work in other countries. Then when you come back here, bring that knowledge. Especially if you already have the capital. It's not necessary that you're going to start an architectural firm, but you just have to start a business or anything. Then do multiple businesses. Don't do just one thing. Okay. There's a lot of money in real estate. So you have to look into real estate. So I think that's my advice. And you have to be financially literate. When you receive your first salary, I think my regret back then was that when I got my first salary, I was not yet that financially literate. I only learned about stocks and a lot of things a few years in my later years. But if I learned that I should invest in stocks in a diversified portfolio back then, and what I should have done was invest in the stock market or invest in real estate as early as possible. That's the advantage of, for example, you know, the Chinese children here in the Philippines, here in Keren, their advantage is that their parents, they're already financially literate. Bata pa lang sila, they know how to handle the business. Filipino children, they're not so financially literate. They get their first salary, they try to get a Mac or an iPhone.
Na-depreciate mo na siya.
But it will depreciate its value over time. So, if you are young, try to manage your money well sa bata pa ka, so that when you get older, you already have a deep-rooted financial foundation. And then when you practice your profession, dili na kay kakabado ba? Naka-afford na kasi yung office, pag-set up everything. It would be a lot easier. Kay tinod lang bitaw, it got a lot easier after I went abroad, when I got the capital.
But before going sa abroad, ang di-invest niya, ang skill niya sa AutoCAD, animation, sa Lumion, muna siya amurag sa inyo nga part, maka-invest mo without money involved.
We came from a time back in our time when we were a hybrid of manual and computer. There aren't a lot of people during my time who likes SketchUp, who likes Lumion, or likes other skills. So that's what me and my friends invested a lot in. So when we applied for a consultancy job overseas, the three of us from USTP, we got accepted over those graduates from Luzon. You know, what's our advantage? It's our skill. So relatively, when you think about it, back then, MPSC is just a school in the province. So why would they choose us, a big Canadian consultancy firm, over them? It's because in ours, we have our skill sets. We're already beyond them because we invested a lot. So kami sa kong mga amigo, na ang gabuhaton, we share rendering techniques. We share techniques in AutoCAD, we share techniques in, I think back then, Kirkiteya, pala nito. So mura na ang kalingawan. So pagtanaw sa mga Canadian sa portfolio, gipili ni. So when we arrived when we arrived at Saudi Arabia, we were really surprised na ang promised na salary was really true. So makuratan na kwan gid ato na nakuratan gid. Nakuratan gid sa salary. Kay back here in the Philippines, you know what was my struggle? Gabinuangan ko ba nga I'm an architect, nga baklay na daw ko. But what can I do? My salary can't afford it. I can't afford a car. Imagine, my wife and I were just scouting for some bongo trucks ba to? Bongo ba to? Ano mga
Gabay, sa tawag na. Kanang loaf at tawag.
Kanang loaf, tanawin yung mga sakyanan. And then we realized that with our salary here in Cabello, I couldn't even afford it. And then, I think ang clients ko I noticed that when they see you nga nagbaklay lang, di kadayon ang project for some reason. I have to be honest with that.
Because you're dealing with sa mga clients na established na sa life. So, maminaw lugar siya sa anang wala pa man yung experience ana ba, so ma-judge ka na basta wala pa kayo ni kuan mo na nag-practice akong house, so dito gid siya sa ma-establish na architect. So ano.
Yeah. Mugin na ako kung anong naman still ay new architect. Di naman sa ako, hindi all my classmates.
But that's part of the experience. Ma-feel na mo karon nga makatawa na lang ni bala na experience na mo nga kanang when you're just starting and then gamay pa kayo ang salary. So,
Kaya kaysa tinuod
experience na po ninyo kung say kanang ma-experience din.
Imagine
You
sa
know about it.
diba sa una, imagine when we go to Makaon mi sa gawas, makita mi ticket tag 50 pesos, mahal na kaya na para sa
Matras na may sa mga cafe.
matras na mi ana kape.
Kaya ako tanaw design kaya na mag-cafe, cafe daw ko na ang design, plate number sa to, space baka ha. So sulod-sulod big mga social. Pagtanaw na mo bagang isa ka slide 50 pesos. Nakakuha na tao ko ano for the shows.
So, mahal na gyud. Alos tanan sa mga sa among batches, alos tanan sa among batch not come from a well-off background, but alos tanan karon wala na sa Pilipinas kay their skills, their experience,
at least na improvement ba sa
there's improvement. Then at least karon when we go out, dili na kami ganawa na sa price compared sa katong sa panahon bitaw sa I think ma-compare na ako ang Jollibee is marana siya ganang dili kanang lawis brand ito ka. Dili sa.
Di ba bisa? Gusto ko ang Jollibee sa iyo. Gone lang, more ordinary.
Ordinary lang. Sa una kay naraga social yung kay na warang karon it's parang ka nang okay lang.
Yeah, you improve
May
kanang mga
iPhone,
skill
hindi na
ninyo, kanang mga subjects bitaw na may reason ano i-offer na AutoCAD ano para kabalong AutoCAD, kabalong animation, Prof-Prap i-offer na para makabalong mo sir pag kasi mga services and
Then,
fees.
i-share po na ako
Business
kuan
management, no?
back in 2016. Nanami sa akong classmates kami tulo ka lalaki na sa Riyadh. Then there was a big project. It's the project will be presented to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. So nangita sila rendering ang animation company. Dako pa hikot nata sa company. Gitry other architects from other nationalities pa yung supol. Pag-ingon sa akong isa ka classmate,
Suklan ni
suklan lang niya. So kami tulo, gipalitan ng supercomputer. Palitan ka ng kuan, grabe yung kusog, mo kita ka ng 12-core computer sa tumatay. So we made the presentation. Though wala may acknowledge, pero I think the bonus was around 7 digits. So, parang ana ba our only capital was our skills. Then to think na back here in Cagayan de Oro, ako, me, Christopher, and Oliver, gabaklay-baklay ng ito kay. Baklay lang yun. Dalagki Square. And grabe ka, kuan ba? Ang katugay si Christopher, nag-work gani siya sa McDo, nag-service crew. So, marag na-improve yun ang among life because of the skill sets na gi-build na mo.
Miskin dili mo mahimong architect sa bakulan kay naay mga circumstance, but you have knowledge sa CAD and then sa animation and then well-rounded mo sa kanang computer nga presentation, makalag mo og high-paying job abroad.
But now, kanang CAD o kanang animation and Lumion, it's
More
already
outdated na. BIM.
It's in our time. Sa amo tong time na it's really something special. This time, in your time, I think in the subsequent years, it's BIM. So learn BIM.
Dili kaya sa
Actually, even if itaw dili kaya, kami, we just learn the basics, then nag-apprentice me. Practicean ang computer sa architect. So, even if bitaw nga overtime, di pa trabaho, hindi na magtarong.
Kaya na may lesson learn. Murag nag-practice ka og kuan. So,
Yeah.
portfolio add na to dahil sa
Kay katong I remember my our mentor, si Architect Maseren, patay naman to siya. He let me use his computer. Computer. Ito kung nagtuon mo ka ng manual pag itong animation, ka nakitahit mo sa Adobe Photoshop. Mag-create ka 1,000 images, yung sumpay-sumpay. So, the pay was only 200 pesos a day. I was his apprentice, nang-ingon ako. But, I think, dagang ko natunan sa iya so far. Madumduman bitaw na ako kay ay paano mo to siya na medyo inito ng ulo, pero dagang ko matunan ba sa kasaba. If kasabaan na ka sa kliyente, gano'n ka madutlan.
Training gihapon.
And may follow-up question lang for you. Are there disadvantages or advantages for architects who are women in the industry?
Yes. Naagid.
Ga-exist po yan.
Yes. Especially that you become a mom. Muragig kuan. Di ba kasagara ang mga sikat ng mga female architects are single. Kung makafocus man sila sa ilang profession, but when you become a mom, divided na. Dili na for yourself ang imong outlook, for your family, for your husband, for your kids, ana na. So, naging siya yung disadvantage.
How about ang view sa industry sa architect as a woman?
So far, naghapon ni Nana na kuan na musmukuan din sila sa male. Oo. Especially Philippines. Kuan pa biya dili pa inana ka kuan bitaw develop gid para sa US nga liberated na gid nga murag equality. Na din na ang gender equality. Naamang gihapon rod pa diri. So pero dili man na nako gina kuan gid dibdib ang kuan. I enjoy being a female kung inana imong feeling na weak or kuan. So you take advantage na sige kuan pero wala siya kay balo nga mas maayo pa day ka mo design or kuan. Kay ang advantage na may advantage po ang female kay dili kayo egoistic, dili kayo kuan. Basta dili lang kayo dili mo idibdib.